Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this video showing you the entire 200 to 300 hour process of sculpting Empyrean in 15 minutes or so. This is going to be a little bit of a different video. I've already talked a lot about the sculpture Empyrean, the technical process, the idea, everything really. So instead, this video will be looking forward. And we will talk about future plans, what you can expect from the channel, from my Patreon, etc. So let's get to it. First off, what can you expect from the channel for the foreseeable future? Just as I will keep uploading weekly videos. I've done that for about 8 months now, so nothing will change there. But the content might morph a little bit, or at least it'll start including a few more things that I think, or I hope, that you'll find interesting. Recently, me and my friend Sandeep shot a little vlog video about a museum visit to one of the myriad of museums in Florence. And I think I'll try and do more of these vlog style videos, not really about my life, but about museum visits, galleries, or stores that I really like. Anything that'll fit into the category of sculpture, so nothing out of place. I'm very fortunate in that I get to go to places like Florence, New York, even Norway, and many people never get to go to these places and see the art that's there, so I think it would be interesting to share some of that. And of course the vlogs will be ultimately based on me talking about a piece of sculpture or several pieces of sculpture, like a history lesson but from a practitioner's perspective. I'm really interested in shooting more video and getting a little bit more outside, shooting more demanding stuff. The regular video shoots in the studio is not really demanding videography. I just put my tripod down and set the exposure and press record, and then I sculpt. And making these small vlogs will also challenge me as far as telling a cohesive story within just a 10 to 15 minute video, and it'll kind of challenge my style of editing a little bit too. Perhaps allowing me to do more than what is really possible within the confinement of my small studio. So the vlogs / history videos are something I'm really excited about and looking forward to sharing with you. As an extension of this challenge to myself, I have several other challenges to myself. One of them is that I wanna work a little bit more. I wanna work harder and make more. And I want to target my Patreons a little bit more actively than what I've been able to do. Previously, I've struggled with how to balance making YouTube videos and making exclusive Patreon content, which has resulted essentially in me not making exclusive Patreon content. I feel very strongly about sharing the knowledge that I have and not putting it behind some sort of massive paywall. But I think the time has come to acknowledge that the Patreon page needs something special to make it attractive to people. And so I've decided to make an exclusive Patreon video series where I will make a half-life size sculpture, full figure sculpture. The video series will differ in a few ways from my regular YouTube videos. I want to make a video series that are more in-depth than what I'm capable of doing when working from life. And I know many people don't have the opportunity to work from life. Models are expensive, it's difficult to find a model, or perhaps even nude modeling is illegal where you are. And so I'll make the half-life size sculpture from photographs, and I'll show you how to do good photographs and what type of photographs to look for when looking for photographs to work from. Without the pressure of paying for a model and without having a model in the studio that I have to shoot around, I can spend more time showing both the correct ways of doing things and showing the wrong way, showing more clearly the mistakes students usually make. I will purposefully follow more of a step-by-step approach as well, which is a little artificial, but will more clearly reveal the process, hopefully in a way that's a little bit easier to follow. Since it's a sculpture meant as a demonstration, I'm not going to be too invested in making the best sculpture I could possibly make. Instead, I'll be invested in making the best demo that I can make. And following a more step-by-step approach, I think will make it easier to follow. I've also bought a second video camera, so I'll finally be able to shoot several angles at once, showing you more of the process. Now this video series will stretch over several months. I'll release one video per month, and I'll still continue to release my regular YouTube videos once a week. This will be a comprehensive guide to figure sculpture. Hopefully something anyone will be able to learn from and follow and do at home. As I said, it will be Patreon exclusive content, but it won't be very expensive, perhaps $5-10 a month. And I'll make a series on sculpting the portrait as well after the figure. If the figure series does well, and people are interested, that is. First video in this series will be released in late October, and after that I will make one video per month. Now the exact number of videos is still to be determined. I still have to do quite a bit of planning on this project, but I'm really excited to get into it. In addition to this news, speaking of Patreon, I will make the scripts that I write to narrate these videos available to my patrons, so they can use them, read them. If English is not your first language, you can use Google Translate to translate them to get a deeper understanding of what I'm trying to teach, hopefully. So I'm very, very excited to finally bring more to bear on my Patreon page, and hopefully making it more worth it for both present and future patrons. Continuing in the same vein of working harder and doing more, there's one more thing that I've thought a lot about lately, something that hurts me, but that I do have to own up to at some point. Just as I could and should and will work harder on my Patreon page, I also should have devoted more time to drawing. Because it's not that I don't have the hours in the day to shift from when I do nothing to spending a few extra hours drawing a bit more. And I think devoting a few more hours into something productive would make me both happier and a better person and a better artist. My last sculpture was all about kind of self-improvement, I suppose. And part of that is looking in the mirror and admitting that you can do more. And so I shall do a little bit more. Now, I'm not the most naturally gifted draftsman, but when I was in school, I practiced a lot, and I got a lot better at it than I was when I started, even though it was slow going at times. But then when I graduated from school, I stopped almost completely. And personally, I think this was a big mistake. Drawing is like batting practice, if you're into sports, or scales, if you're a musician. Practicing them should just be part of who you are, and drawing should be part of your routine as a figurative artist. And I've slacked off on this. I admit that I told myself that I wanted to draw more and be better at this, and that was right around New Year's. But frankly, I was too embarrassed to start because I haven't done it for a while, and I was afraid that people who would see my drawings would lose respect for me as an artist if they saw my drawings were not up to par anymore, because I haven't practiced in so long. But I think that I just have to rid myself of that fear. It was the same fear of embarrassing myself that kept me from applying from Florence Academy of Art for years, until I decided to just get over it and go and practice and just take it as an experience to get better. And I think that's the best way to go about things. You're always, to a certain extent, an imposter in the beginning, and that's embarrassing until you practice enough at whatever it is that you want to get good at, and then it becomes less embarrassing, and you turn into a pro. Now, the impetus to do all of this came from rereading. I read it a couple of times before, but rereading The Agony and the Ecstasy, which is a biographical novel about Michelangelo. So if you like books and you like sculpture, it's definitely a book to read. And I know there is creative license being taken from the author in this book, but it's quite inspiring to consider the level of preparation Michelangelo put into his designs for his sculptures. He did a lot of drawing, and a lot of design work happened in these drawings, a lot of searching. And I think this level of preparation probably set him apart to a certain extent as well. We have this silly joke, me and my friends, about the old masters, amongst whom Michelangelo stands the tallest, at least to me. And we call them the old bastards, because they set the bar high, they set the bar damn high. and I want to slowly but surely reach upwards towards that same bar, or at least year after year keep getting better at reaching for it, getting closer and closer, let's say. And I think for me at this very moment, that starts with drawing from life several times a week. And I have the opportunity considering where I'm at and all the model that's available to me, and it's even available to me for free, so there is no excuse to not be doing it. Passivity breeds mediocrity, and I do not want to be mediocre. Last subject we'll cover in this video is my next sculpture, the sculpture of Saturn devouring his child. Well, my next major sculpture at least. You might have seen the first video in the Design Maquette series. As mentioned above, I want to take more time to be better prepared for my eventual sculptures. So I think I might make another maquette, iterating on the one that I've already made. This sculpture will take more time than I've ever committed to a sculpture before. Almost more time than I've ever committed to anything, really. The plan is to begin the work at the turn of the new year, right at the beginning of 2020, which is the 10-year anniversary of when I made my first sculpture as well. So maybe then I'll show you my very, very first sculpture, which I still have. The project will probably require 150 hours of working with a model or so, and plenty more without for sure. Now for comparison, Empyrean needed around 100 model hours, and the King of the Rusted Crown needed around, I think maybe it was 60 or 70 or something like that. All in all, this means that it'll probably take me around 12 to 17 months to complete this sculpture, which is more than twice the amount of time that I've spent on any sculpture. All this is predicated on the fact that I find the correct model, a model that I want to work with, which is still a little bit up in the air. I want the overall height of the piece to be 225 centimeters for one reason only. I want it to be 1 centimeter shorter than Michelangelo's Bandini Pietà, as a token of respect for what I consider to be the best sculpture ever made by the best sculptor ever made. And I want it to be over life size. So I guess that's 2 reasons. The over life size scale is to challenge myself, and Saturn or Cronus is supposed to be a titan from Greek or Roman myth. And I assume that titans were bigger than life size, so I think it's appropriate. And I also think the large scale of the sculpture will be incredibly imposing, together with the subject matter and the pose and everything about it will be incredibly imposing. And above life size, I think is the way to go. Now that is of course if I can do everything right. I've done 3/4 life size seated and cropped, that was the King of the Rusted Crown, and 3/4 life size standing full figure, those are my 2 last sculptures. And I've done life-size work before, life-size full-figure sculpture before. So to me, it stands to reason that over life-size, full-figure will be the next challenge. And I do believe it will fit the sculpture itself, which at the end of the day is what really matters. If you enjoyed the video and want to learn sculpture from me, check out my Patreon page. I give feedback and critiques on people's work, and we talk about whatever you need help with in your sculpting endeavors. So check it out, the link is in the description below. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for a new video next Thursday. Hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever a new video comes out. If you enjoyed the video, click the like button and share with your friends and family. It really helps me out a lot. Thank you for watching, stay creative, and I hope to see you in the next one.